Ulysses, Frodo Baggins, Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter. And there, in the midst of these great heroes, is you. We are all traveling the same hero's journey, in which we must go through the same stages, face the same inner obstacles, and conquer the same psychological and spiritual transformation. This is what Joseph Campbell called the hero's journey, or the monomyth. In his fantastic book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, Joseph Campbell divides this life cycle we all go through into 3 main phases. The departure or separation, where we leave behind our ordinary life and begin the adventure into the darkest part of ourselves. The initiation, where we must face the trials and obstacles that these unknown forces will put in front of us. And the return, the final phase in which we come back home from our journey transformed and renewed, and we must share our power, our knowledge, and skills with our fellow men. The starting point to understand why all human beings are psychologically and spiritually on the same path is found in the ancient myths. In Campbell's words, myth is the secret opening through which the inexhaustible energies of the cosmos pour into the human cultural manifestation. For the symbols of mythology are not manufactured. They cannot be ordered, invented, or permanently suppressed. They are spontaneous productions of the psyche, and each bears within it, undamaged, the germ power of its source. The source is unknown because it is the ultimate mystery, but it is the one from which everything emanates, a creative source to which we are all connected. Myths are metaphors of the spiritual potentiality of the human being, and the same powers that animate our life animate the life of the world. The territory of the myth is the territory of the unconscious mind, and we collectively share the same symbols, what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious. Deep down in our unconsciousness are the terrors and the treasures, the psychic forces that we resist and repress, but which, if we had the courage to integrate, would reveal our highest human potential. Going into the unconscious is the heroic adventure that all myths throughout history have described. Using a series of common symbols, the myths of all cultures point to the desired and feared adventure of self-discovery. A self-discovery in which the old world we had built will be destroyed, but then a wonderful reconstruction of the bolder, cleaner, more spacious and fully human life will emerge. According to Campbell, it has always been the prime function of mythology and rite to supply the symbols that carry the human spirit forward, in counteraction to those constant human fantasies that tend to tie it back. In the same way that our body has a nervous system that makes it move, our mind possesses spiritual forces that make it move as well, and that have remained constant throughout human history. Lines of communication between the conscious and unconscious zones of the psyche. Briefly formulated, the universal doctrine teaches that all the visible structures of the world, all things and beings, are the effects of a ubiquitous power out of which they rise, which supports and fills them during the period of their manifestation and back into which they must ultimately dissolve. That power is within us, hidden in the depths of being, waiting to be unearthed by the hero who has the boldness to embark on the adventure. So the hero is the one who withdraws inward, searching for the peace of the inner eternal kingdom, the secret domain of the unconscious through which we reach the other side, the metaphysical plane. There, the hero must go into depths where obscure resistances are overcome and long-lost forgotten powers are revivified to be made available for the transfiguration of the world. Fortunately, we have not even to risk the adventure alone, for the heroes of all time have gone before us. The labyrinth is thoroughly known. we have only to follow the thread of the hero path. And where we have thought to find an abomination, we shall find a god. Where we have thought to slay another, we shall slay ourselves. Where we have thought to travel outward, we shall come to the center of our own existence. Where we have thought to be alone, we shall be with all the world. That thread of the hero's journey is what Joseph Campbell called the nuclear unit of the monomyth, 3 main stages that lead to a spiritual awakening. The starting point is the call to adventure. The hero is called to leave the ordinary world behind. Something happens that presents him with a difficult decision. He takes a step back and retreats into the familiar, the usual, or he takes a step forward and enters the unknown. Luke Skywalker found his home burned down with his family inside. Harry Potter received a letter of invitation to Hogwarts. Frodo Baggins discovered that the gift his uncle Bilbo gave him was actually the One Ring. We all face moments like this in our lives. An unexpected event clearly announces that it is time to go beyond the known horizons. The old concepts, ideals, and emotional patterns no longer fit. It is time to cross the threshold. If we reject the call and pretend to return to our occupations like nothing happened, it will be unsuccessful. Events will continue to happen with increasing force until the call can no longer be denied, forcing us to leave behind the ordinary reality. The hero's first encounter on his journey is always a protective figure, often a hermit, a wizard, or a wise old man who provides the adventurer with the protective amulet against the dragon forces that he will eventually face. This supernatural helper symbolizes the very assistance that life gives to the one who has answered the call. One has only to know and trust, and the ageless guardians will appear. Having responded to his own call and continuing to follow courageously as the consequences unfold, the hero finds all the forces of the unconscious at his side. Mother Nature herself supports the mighty task. Our unconscious mind, noticing that we need its assistance to face this unsuspected new world, unlocks certain forces that come to our aid, inner secrets that only become available to those who dare to start the heroic path. Willed introversion, in fact, is one of the classic implements of creative genius and can be employed as a deliberate device. It drives the psychic energies into depth and activates the lost continent of unconscious, infantile, and archetypal images. The result, of course, may be a disintegration of consciousness more or less complete. But on the other hand, if the personality is able to absorb and integrate the new forces, there will be experienced an almost superhuman degree of self-consciousness and masterful control. The adventure of our lives is always taking a step beyond the known to enter the unknown. And on the border between these two worlds lies the guardian of the threshold, the first monster we must face. If the hero succeeds and achieves victory over this guardian, that is, if he manages to reconcile the forces of his own psyche, he crosses the threshold and advances in his adventure. If the hero, instead of conquering the power of the threshold, is swallowed by the unknown, like Geppetto in the belly of the whale, descends into death, goes inward, sheds the old skin, is born again, and crosses the threshold. Once the threshold is crossed, the second stage of the journey begins, the initiation. The hero enters the realm of darkness, the shadow of his own being. He must face a succession of tests that his own unconscious forces throw at him. In the vocabulary of the mystics, this is the second stage of the way, that of the purification of the self, when the senses are cleansed and humbled, and the energies and interest concentrated upon transcendental things. These tests are a deepening of what we already experience when we cross the threshold and face the guardian. The question that underlies this stage is this: can you allow your ego to die? Are you willing to make that sacrifice and become yourself? The dragons that the hero must annihilate and the impossible barriers he must overcome represent our own unconscious abyss. Everything we reject and refuse to integrate into our psychic structure and which we have pushed to the very depths of our being. There, in the deepest part of the dragon's lair, it had remained hidden so that we would not have to face something so terrifying about ourselves. But with courage, the hero decides to conquer his fear by looking where he never wanted to look, entering where he never wanted to enter. The space within the heart, the room of the inner controller, the source and end of all. And there he achieves transformation. When the envelopment of consciousness has been annihilated, then he becomes free of all fear, beyond the reach of change. This is the release potential within us all, and which anyone can attain. When the hero's quest has been fulfilled, he receives the elixir of the imperishable being. It is the power we obtain when we dare to know ourselves and transmute. And then, the last stage, the hero returns home. But he is no longer the same as when he left. He now possesses the trophy that transforms life. The hero now begins the work of bringing the runes of wisdom back to the realm of humanity, where the boon may redound to the renewing of the community, the nation, the planet, or the 10,000 worlds. This is no easy task. The hero has yet to confront society with his ego-destroying, life-redeeming elixir, and this will cause him problems because not many people want to awaken. Most will want to remain asleep, ignoring the truth as it threatens to take away the comfortable life they have built over the years. So, this homecoming is the hero's final test. It is up to each individual to determine in which stage of the hero's journey they're at and use this formula to expand consciousness and overcome the trials they face. The goal of the myth is effecting a reconciliation of the individual consciousness with the universal will, and this is effected through a realization of the true relationship of the passing phenomena of time to the imperishable life that lives and dies and all. Where are your demons and dragons? The exploration of that hidden dimension of your being, the knowledge of what is hidden there, and the integration of those latent forces is the heroic task you secretly are longing for. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you found it useful. My name is Jorge Benito, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe because I have many more videos ready, animated videos like this one on topics such as psychology, philosophy, religion, mythology. So again, thank you very much for your support, and I see you in the next one.